let us take a look at this Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, as this is one smartphone that I have been daily driving from about 10 months or so, and I have got some thoughts about this smartphone, especially after the release of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 and the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. I think that the entire package that what you get with the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, it is just a lot more appealing. If I would have made this video a few months ago, I would still have said the same thing, that this is one of the best devices to pick, but it would just have been a very difficult decision. But now that the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7, it costs about 1462 Canadian dollar, and the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, it costs about 2679 Canadian dollar. That is, I would say, one of the more prices smartphone that we have got in the market, in comparison to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra that costs about 1918 Canadian dollar in the Canadian market right now. If you buy from Samsung itself, for the price that what you're getting out of this device, this is still one of the best Android flagship smartphones that you can pick in the market right now. I purchased this device with a trade-in deal, and all I just had to pay was about 1000 Canadian dollar, and for about that price, this thing has got a lot of features that the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 and the Z Fold 7 are lacking. Just like the cameras on those smartphones is not one of the best one. Those have not got any kind of titanium frame as well. I think the Samsung Galaxy Edge, it does have a titanium frame, but not the newest Fold series and not even the Flip series, which is a downgrade. And both of those devices has not got any kind of S Pen support, even though that even the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, it has not got a Bluetooth functionality in the S Pen, which is again a downgrade, but not enough where I could say that this is not a better device than the other ones that has not got any kind of a stylus support whatsoever. Now this is a trend that what I have been seeing with the Samsung devices. Samsung is just taking away a few things from their flagship smartphones year after year, and the incentives are just not very much enough to just buy the latest and the greatest in the market. But this is what Samsung has been doing, and between all this is the only one last remaining smartphone that I can really suggest people to buy in this day and time. Now just talking about or just focusing about this flagship Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, I have made a lot of videos about this smartphone, so I would just not go into the nitty and the gritty feature about this smartphone, and I would just not explain everything, but this is just a general overview that how this smartphone is holding after 6 months of its release date. Now about the design. Now this is not one of the best designs that we have got in the market in the term of the flagship smartphones. I think Google is the one, in my opinion or in my eyes, that who is doing still the best. I love the camera bar design on the back of the Google Pixel 9 series, and the same thing is with the Google Pixel 10 series. But this thing, it is just more plain, it is a bit more boring. Might be something that is a bit more suitable for the people who are into the business background, and for the people who do not like the flashy design on the nothing smartphone, or might be they do not even want any kind of flagship smartphone from the Chinese manufacturer like OnePlus. So for those people, I think that this is the best bet. And that is the thing about the North American market, that you have not got a lot of choices in the market. But this thing, I think for the design that what you are getting out of this thing, it is not the worst thing. It is just a bit more plain and simple, and Samsung could have just changed the design on the camera island or the cameras on the back of the smartphone. I think it is just the same design, starting with I think the 2022 flagship smartphone from Samsung, that was a Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. So not something that I just enjoy, but here is another look at this one. Now another thing is that I do like this small cutout on the bottom of this thing for the speaker grill. The speaker quality on this thing is one of the best that I have heard in the terms of the Android flagship smartphones of this year, but not something that I can say about the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 and the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. I do not personally own those devices, but I have seen enough reviews to know that this is not one of the worst one in the market, and this at least again is one of the better ones in comparison to the other flagships that what we have got from the Samsung devices. So yes, again another point that adds on to being better on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra versus the rest. Now the other things that I want to discuss about on this thing is that this again has got the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor versus the Exynos 2500 that what we have got on the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7, which is one thing that is a bummer, because I would just want to try the latest Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7. I did have a Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6 in the past and I love that device, but the only reason that why I did not put my money towards the latest Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 is just because of an Exynos chipset. So again, you know that where I'm coming from, and why do I say that this is still one of the best flagship smartphones that you can buy from the Samsung right now, and that might not break your bank for sure. Now, something else that I want to mention about in this video is the UI on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. There are a few things that are still not fixed on this device. But one thing that I really like about this device is that how clean of a UI that this thing has got, because I also used iOS 26 in the recent time and I just hate everything about that UI. I just like the efforts that what Apple has done there. I like the liquid thing on the iOS 26. But if that liquid design could have been a bit more frosty, like what we have got on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, the things might have been a bit more better for that device. But for this one, I am generally happy with what we have got on this device. Now, the way that I've customized this device is just not using any kind of launcher that is a third-party one, but keeping whatsoever is original with One UI 7 elements, but combining it with the Good Lock thing that is another software that is proprietary to the Samsung devices. So you can just download the very same thing from the Samsung App Store. And what I have done is that I have just updated the icons on this thing to have the delta icons. So everything else just remains the same. I have just resized the way that the icons are, and just to have like 7x7 grid and just arrange everything on the home screen. And to my taste, I think this is one of the best thing. And also I have just enabled this thing to if I just swipe down from any corner, you can just see the notification. But if I just do it from the top corner, you will see the rest of the thing that is a taskbar, the Wi-Fi menu and everything that is there on the smartphone. You can just skip this thing and just have a single layout, but something that is customizable on this device. And also for the lock screen, I'm using the Lockstar application, which just changes the way that you can use different widgets, or how you just want to place your clock, and if you just want an animation on the clock, or if you just want to change the color or the lock icon on the lock screen. These are the things that you can do with this Lockstar application. This is still the part of the Good Lock application as well. So I think that this is one of the most customizable smartphones that I have seen in the market right now. And if you're using the Home Up application, you can also just place any icon anywhere on the screen, which is much better than what you have got with the updated iOS 26 update, which is just one thing that I like about the Android smartphones. So certainly one of the best UIs that I have ever seen on any smartphone in the market. But when I say that there is something that is broken with this UI, all I mean to say is that the camera experience on this thing is not one of the best one. Now, we have got the updated array of cameras on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, but there is an issue when you just switch between 0.6x to might be 5x or might be 10x on the ultra wide camera sensor on this one, because you might see a lot of stutters, a lot of sounds that are coming out of this camera. It almost feels like that there is an issue with the hardware of this device. I know that Samsung has just acknowledged this issue a few months ago, and they said that it might be fixed with a software update, but not that what I really think of, because this is not one thing that has been fixed on this device. But apart from that, everything that is there on this UI is just amazing. Now, to the AI features, I just do not want to talk a lot about AI, because this is one thing that I have been talking about again and again. But this certainly is one of the best AI implementations that I have seen in any device. Now, if I compare this thing with the Google Pixel 10 series, I would still say that this has got a bit more better functionality, because the way that it combines the Gemini feature and the Google Pixel feature along with the Bixby feature. For example, if you just want to use the Google Gemini feature, you can just long press on the button and you can just activate the Gemini, and you can just ask anything from Gemini. It might be something that is here on the screen, or might be something that is really a live thing that you just want to ask question about. But at the same time, you can combine Gemini with the Bixby feature that will allow you to access different parts and parcels of this UI. That is something that is being sitting on this Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. For example, Bixby will allow you to go into the deeper parts of this UI, like the Photos application or a contact or something. So you can just ask Bixby to be able to search a person in the contacts library, or might be someone in the photos, or might be if you just want to send documentation to something. So it is a much more integrated experience in my opinion, and something that the Apple iPhones are just lacking, but one thing that in a few cases might be better on the Google Pixel series. Now there are some other features that are being copied from the Google devices as well, but I just miss the features like the clear calling feature that is not available on this thing. And also the hold for me feature is one thing that is being implemented on the iOS 26 devices, but not something that is available on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. But you have still got the features like the call assist feature that allows you to record the conversation, to transcribe it. There is a live translate option as well, and you can also use the text to be able to do the entire conversation rather than just speaking to the person who is on the next end. But Samsung could just add the features like the hold for me feature and the clear calling feature. That would just have been amazing on this thing. Now one another feature that I loved on this smartphone is the generative edit feature, and that is just one of the most amazing phones that I've seen in the terms of the AI market right now. Now I just tried a lot of couple smartphones, and I think the generative edit feature on this thing is just one of the best one. And also I use this feature a lot because sometimes I take an image and it is not the very wide shot, and I would just want to use that shot in some kind of thumbnail. So what I can do is that I can use the generative edit feature, tilt the photo to a certain angle, might be 60-degree or 30-degree, just do a generative edit and do it on the other side as well, just to make sure that we have got equal space on both the ends. And that is again an enlarged image with more space on both of the sides, which I can then edit on Canva, which is one thing that I just like about this thing. But I just try to remove a couple of things in the images, and the generative edit feature is one of the best one. I tried the same thing on the iPhone and the Google Pixel devices as well. For example, I call this thing a wipe eraser tool that allows you to remove the wipe, or actually, it just allows you to erase anything in the image, and it just works very well on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. But do not do this thing with your wife, because you might be beaten with something like a hammer or something. So yeah, it just all comes with all questions and all the exclamation marks, so do not try this thing at your home. But one thing that I just love about the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI features just are a lot. So the thing is that the AI features whatsoever is there in the market, it also exists on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, but in a few ways it is better than what we have got on the iPhones, but not as good as what we have got on the Google Pixel devices. But at the same time, the trade-off is that if you buy the Google Pixel devices, it is not one of the fastest one, and the processing on this thing, it can be done on the phone itself rather than sending the things to the cloud and having it getting back on the device. So it is a bit more faster on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra rather than just having something like a Google Pixel device. This is one of the best bet if you just want to recommend any smartphone to anyone in the market right now. Even though that the design is boring, still the features and the functionality and the UI on this thing is just something that makes a smartphone one of the best ones in the market now. The last thing I want to talk about is the cameras on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, because I definitely did see a lot of improvement from the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra from the last year. I did see that in a few of the conditions where you have got a lot of light, it does not blow away the subject or not blow off the subject. And if you are just zooming into like 10x or 20x or 50x, the details on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra is much better than what you got on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and so much more as the older devices in the market. And we have also got the features like the log recording. If you just go into the Pro video camera feature on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, you can enable the log on this thing, which I think so was missing on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra if I am not wrong. But we have also got the things like the 8K recording on this thing, and most of the times I do really shoot in 4K 60 FPS, because a lot of the shots that I take on this thing, I can just slow it down. So let us say I'm using this gimbal over here, which is not one of the best one. This is from a Chinese brand actually, but I do use it to take a lot of shots on my YouTube videos, and because it is not one of the most stable ones, I can just shoot in 60 FPS on my Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, and then I can just slow it down just to make sure that the frames are not a bit more choppy when I just scale back the settings for speed on my Mac Mini when I'm editing the videos. So one thing that is very handy on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, and that is really a real life example of how I am using this device. Now on to the other nitty-gritty things that I want to wrap up this video about is the things like the charging speed and the battery life of this device, which is certainly not one of the best ones at what we have got in the market. This thing has got about 45 watt of the fast charging. That is far away from 100 watt that we have got from the other brands like OnePlus and the Oppo smartphones and the Xiaomi's of the world. But certainly it is not one of the worst battery lives that what we have seen in the market. It is still not a silicon carbide tech if you are looking for one. Also about the display on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, it is certainly not one of the best one that we have got in the market. But if we just talk about the North American market, the competition is just not much. So this is arguably one of the best display panels that you can buy in the market right now if you are in North America. But the things might change if you are in the region like India or maybe China or Japan, because you might get smartphones with a better technology in the terms of display in those markets. But this one certainly is again one of the best one. It has not got one of the best PWM dimming rates, but there is no scientific thing that proves that it does help you with the eyesight or no. But one thing that this thing has which the rest of the smartphones does not is the anti-reflective display coating on this smartphone. That does make it a bit more special. But as you can see, I have got a screen protector on this device, so it does not really help with the anti-reflection coating on this thing, which is again one thing that I might just want to have, but I just do not like to have scratches on my smartphone, so I had to put a screen guard on this smartphone, as you can see. Now the other thing about this smartphone is that I would say the connectivity on this thing is also one of the best one. I had been into the regions where the connectivity might not have been best on my iPhone, but this thing, it just proves to be one of a better modem on this thing versus the rest of the competition. And I'm just talking about the iPhones as well in this video. So one thing that is very much a good thing on this Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. And well, now with that said, that was all about my experience of using the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. I still believe that this is one of the most amazing values that you can get out of a flagship smartphone right now, especially in the North American market. And if you just want to compare this thing with the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7 and the Fold 7, this has certainly got a better build quality and more features on this thing in comparison to the other costlier alternatives that you have got from the Samsung smartphones. And that was all about this video. My name is Anshul. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.